The Journey of Hope, a homeless family's resilience. In a small, bustling town, nestled between towering mountains and lush green valleys, lived the Thompson family. They once had a comfortable life, filled with laughter, warmth, and love. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, along with their two children, Emily and Jack, lived in a modest house where every corner echoed with the sounds of happiness. Mr. Thompson worked as a skilled carpenter, known for his meticulous craftsmanship, while Mrs. Thompson tended to the home and took care of the children. Their days were filled with the simple joys of family life, from shared meals around the dinner table to long walks in the nearby forest. However, life, with its unpredictable nature, took a sudden turn for the worse when a severe economic downturn hit the town. Businesses shut down, jobs were lost, and the Thompson family found themselves among the unfortunate ones who lost everything. Despite their best efforts, they were unable to keep up with the mortgage payments, and soon they were forced to leave their home, the place where their most cherished memories were made. As they moved out of their home, the reality of their situation began to sink in. They had nowhere to go, no relatives to turn to, and no means to secure a new place to live. They became a homeless family, wandering the streets with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a few belongings packed into worn-out bags. The once bright eyes of Emily and Jack were now filled with uncertainty and fear as they clung to their parents, unsure of what the future held. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, though overwhelmed with worry, did their best to stay strong for their children. They sought shelter in public parks, under bridges, and in abandoned buildings, wherever they could find a semblance of safety for the night. Each day was a struggle to find food, water, and a place to rest, but the Thompsons held on to one another, their bond as a family becoming their only source of strength in these trying times. Weeks turned into months, and the hardship of homelessness took its toll on the family. Mr. Thompson tirelessly searched for work, knocking on every door, offering his skills for even the smallest of tasks, but jobs were scarce. Mrs. Thompson tried to keep the children's spirits up, telling them stories of brave heroes who overcame impossible odds, hoping to instill in them a sense of hope. But the weight of their situation was heavy, and there were days when despair crept into their hearts. Emily, who was once a bright and curious child, now kept to herself, her thoughts weighed down by the harsh realities they faced. Jack, though younger, seemed to understand the gravity of their situation, often comforting his sister in ways that belied his tender age. Despite the darkness surrounding them, the family clung to the hope that one day their circumstances would change. One cold winter's night, as the family huddled together under a thin blanket in an alleyway, a stranger approached them. His name was Mr. Harrison, an elderly man who had noticed the family's plight and had been quietly observing them for some time. Moved by their resilience and determination to stay together despite their dire circumstances, he offered them a place to stay in a small, run-down cottage he owned on the outskirts of town. The Thompsons, with tears in their eyes, gratefully accepted his offer. The cottage was old and in disrepair, but to the Thompsons it felt like a palace. Mr. Thompson, with his carpentry skills, worked day and night to restore the cottage, while Mrs. Thompson started a small vegetable garden. The children, once again, had a place to call home. Over time, the family regained their footing. Mr. Thompson found work through Mr. Harrison's connections, and Mrs. Thompson started selling homemade crafts at the local market. Slowly but surely, they rebuilt their lives, not just in material terms, but in spirit. The experience of homelessness had left a deep mark on them, but it had also taught them the true meaning of family, resilience, and the unbreakable power of hope. And so the Thompson family emerged stronger, their bond unshakable, having learned that no matter how difficult life may get, as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything.